So for my latest build, I decided to build this ridiculous walking machine that works by flipping itself over. The original idea comes from a toy from the 80s which does just this. But more recently, a YouTuber by the name of jkbrickwork built one out of Lego. This inspired me over a year ago to make one in Minecraft using Create Mod, which has very basic physics, so building it was pretty straightforward. This time, I decided to build one using real physics. To do this, I used Valkyrien's Clockwork. It was a lot more complicated this time around because I had to consider things like mass and center of gravity. It was important to keep the weight of the main body of the walker down, so I started off by making a frame of wool which is very light. I had learned from my previous walker that I needed a built-in way for it to stand back up when it fell down, so I made a retractable platform using a mechanical piston powered by a hand crank. It would be quite useful later on. I built some legs out of chiseled stone blocks and then tested to see if the idea of building a flip walker was even possible. I placed some netherite blocks which are extremely heavy to tip the body of the walker over. It had a bit of trouble, so I replaced part of the stone legs with wool to reduce weight. With a bit of playing around, the walker flipped over and I was actually quite surprised that it worked so well. Of course, this was a controlled test where I manually placed and removed weight in an orderly fashion. The real walker has a carriage suspended underneath, which behaves in anything but an orderly fashion. The first iteration of the carriage had wheels made of wool, but these were unable to propel the carriage forward with enough power to actually make it around the body of the walker. After a lot of frustration, I replaced them with the heavier netherite wheels, and that made all the difference. The walker went through a bunch of different iterations where I would make tweaks here and there. I made the body longer to increase the torque around the leg joint, which then made it require longer legs. I played with the speed of the carriage and the distribution of the weight around the carriage. I added weights to the wheels and then removed them. I did a bunch of things to try and get it working, but time and time again it failed, often flipping catastrophically. Eventually though, I did have some success and the walker made it around. I tried to see if it worked reliably though, but it failed again the time after. I tried a few more tweaks, but the whole system just has too much randomness in it. From the way the carriage wheels struggle to get around, to the way the whole thing vibrates, to how the legs decide to wobble back and forth on one flip versus another. Satisfied that I proved it was possible to make a flip walker using Valkyrien Clockwork, I stopped at this point. If anyone watching thinks they can do better, I'll be providing a world download of this build, so feel free to make some tweaks of your own and hopefully improve on the design. Thank you for watching.